my loves, welcome back or welcome to my channel. Welcome if you guys are new. We have a little bit of a different wrap up this month. We're going to be talking about all the books I read in the month of August, but August was a weird reading month, a great one, but very much quality over quantity, which is fine. So I thought I could include something else in this video, and I thought we'd do a little bit of a book haul as well. I've gotten a few recent books that I just wanted to share with you guys. I'm very excited about them. One of these books I actually read as soon as I got it. Thought we'd turn this into a little August wrap up, but also a bit of a book haul. I just thought it'd be fun. I like switching it up a little bit now and then. I have my chai latte today because I just felt like cozying down a little bit and just chatting to you guys. A lot of the books we read as well were on Kindle this month, which is fun, using our Kindle subscription. Because we've only got a few books to go through, I think we're gonna do the haul first and then we'll get into my August wrap up because I really want to talk to you guys about these books. Speaking of hauls, I do just want to give a quick thank you to Luisa, who gifted me some of their beautiful, beautiful jewelry products. I am such a big fan of Luisa's jewelry. They produce such high quality but affordable jewelry that I wear on the daily basis. Like, I have these pieces on and I never take them off. They are hyperallergenic, water resistant, and sustainable, so you can just wear them 24/7 and you don't have to be switching them out all the time. They also do such great layering pieces. I am personally someone who loves to mismatch my jewelry. I like to have gold and silver. I am very much a mixed metal girl, and so their pieces are absolutely perfect. In my ears, I have two of their earrings. These are little stackable ones. I will always have one of these in. I switch them out whether I'm wearing all gold or silver. These are just some staples in my collection. You probably see me wearing them in my videos all the time, to be honest. I've had this necklace for a while now and I am absolutely obsessed with it. It is a little book necklace. I think this is so perfect for the book girlies. I absolutely love this. Whenever I wear it, I also get so many compliments. And then today I'm also wearing one of their rings. This is my first ring from Luisa and I absolutely love it. I even stacked this with other silver rings and their tones of jewelry go so well together. The gold and silver complement each other so well. So if you're a mixed metal girly like me, highly recommend. As I said, their jewelry is really high quality but super affordable. Prices starting at only $39, and they have lots of deals on, so the more you buy, the more you save. It is also free shipping within the US, and if you live outside the US like me, it is super fast and affordable shipping, which is always a nice thing. And on all the products that you purchase, you will always have a 2-year warranty guarantee, which is just really nice peace of mind, and you know you're getting a good quality piece. I love elevating my daily outfits with jewelry, so Luisa is absolutely perfect to stack it and find pieces that you can wear absolutely every day, dress them down, dress them up. It is so much fun. I love layering my jewelry. I will leave the pieces I am currently wearing linked below, and you can use my link to shop these gorgeous pieces. This is your sign to treat yourself a little bit. These are the most perfect bookish girly jewelry pieces. Honestly, have never found jewelry so bookish coded, but without being obvious about it, I love it so much. So you can use my link in the bio if you want to shop these pieces, and I can't wait to see you all wearing them. Thank you to Luisa for gifting me these pieces. I truly love them and wear them so much. Okay, let's get into the second bit of the haul. If you guys watched my TBR video, you know that I was looking at adding a certain book to my TBR, but it wasn't on Kindle Unlimited like I was hoping it was. And so I kind of was like, maybe soon. Then this turned up in my mail when I got home. This is from Penguin Books and this is Diabound. They sent a little PR package, which is the cutest thing in the world. I have been wanting to read Diabound for months now. I've been seeing so many good things about it. It is a fantasy romance with dire wolves. In this PR box, we came with a little tote bag. So cute. I am so grateful whenever I receive a tote bag. I wear tote bags so much. We have a little note telling us what Diabound is about. It is an action-packed and captivating new romantasy. I am so excited to read this. And then it also came with a few art pieces. So we have, I believe this is the map of the world. We then have our characters, and I'm guessing our dire wolves. And then this is the actual book. Oh my gosh, it is so much thicker than I thought. This is the actual book. Look! This is a chunky romantasy. It's actually not. It's just a really big print. It's only 550 pages. I'm so excited to be reading this. So yeah, this is about direwolves. Been on my TBR for a long time and I'm so excited to read it. It was independently published first, I believe, and now Penguin is traditionally publishing it, which just makes it a little bit more accessible, and I absolutely love that. Big congratulations to the author as well. That is amazing to get traditionally published. So yeah, I'm so excited to read this one. I had to show you guys. I will try not to let this take over my September TBR, but I am like itching to read it. I kid you not, this came yesterday and I opened this package. I had no idea what it was. It was just from Hachette, and when I tell you I almost cried. You may not know what it is from this, but this is Stephanie Garber's Alchemy of Secrets. This is one of my most, I'm actually getting teary-eyed. This is one of my most anticipated releases of the entire year. If you know me, you know that Stephanie Garber is an absolute favorite author of mine. I love her books so much, and this is her newest release. This comes out on the 7th of October, so it comes out in a month. I can't believe I got this a month early. I cannot wait to read this. I will definitely be vlogging it for you guys, letting you know all my thoughts. This is also just such a beautiful arc. I treasure my arc copies like none other. I'll read the little blurb in case you don't know what it is about. You're here because of a story. It starts with a class in an old movie theater. Folklore 517, local legends and urban myths, taught by a woman called the Professor. Most students believe the Professor's stories are just fiction, but Holland St. James has always been convinced that magic is real. Her search for the truth leads her to a dazzling new world, a deadly ultimatum hidden in the heart of Los Angeles, and into the path of a magnetic stranger who claims he's been sent to save her life. But everyone in this intoxicating new world is lying to her, even this stranger. And if she can't figure out whom to trust, her magical reality could change from a Hollywood dream into a nightmare. It sounds so much fun. I'm so excited to read this one. I cannot believe this is in my hands. I am going to be reading this very soon, and as I said, definitely will be vlogging it for you. And then the last book in this little haul is Lady of Starfire. This is the 5th and I believe final book in the Lady of Darkness series. The publisher kindly sent this to me, so now we have the completed series, which is so exciting. Again, this is a fantasy romance. I've heard really great things about this. I know Emmy really enjoyed this. I really need to get into this series. Maybe this is my sign to finally start it. And I just wanted to share it with you guys because every single piece of publisher mail that I get sent, I'm so incredibly grateful for. So I can't wait to dive into this series. And now that we've got like the whole completed series, it'll be so satisfying to slowly just keep ticking off our TBR. Okay, now let's get into the books we read in the month of August. As I said, August was a crazy month, and that's because we started out with Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. You guys have probably seen my reading vlog on this, but oh my gosh, this was a journey. I picked this for my August TBR and I was very nervous about it, and then Jamie texted me and also said she picked it for her TBR, so we decided to do a little buddy read, and we both started on the 1st of August. But I also decided to tab this one just to purely help with the world building, so when I like read something here and I'd be like, what is that, I'd be able to go back to a magic tab and be like, oh, that was back there, or something like that. I used the tabs mainly for political, magic, and characters. They were kind of my main tabs. I didn't want to get too confusing, but it really helped me understand the book a lot better, and I feel like it really added to my experience of reading this book as a whole. If you're unsure what the Way of Kings is, I'm sure you know. This is the first book in the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. I've been avoiding this book for a long time now. We all know this. I read the Mistborn series a while ago. That is kind of a really good place to start to get into his cosmere. The reason these books intimidate me so much is because they are literally over 1,000 pages long, and this is only the first in the series, but I loved every single second of this. Everything from the characters, which there were so many characters to follow, but once I kind of got my head around it, I was having so much fun. To explain the Way of Kings very briefly, basically we are set in time of war. Now this does have a different magic system to the Mistborn series, which was new for me. I didn't know that. And we are following, I would say, 3 primary characters. However, we do have multiple perspectives of different characters throughout the book. Cal is a warrior turned slave. Shallan is a, I guess, aspiring academic, and she is trying to study under one of the princesses who is very academic and does a lot of research, and she just is very inspiring. And then we are also following Dalinar, who brother of the recent king who recently passed away, and he is kind of mentoring the king's son, so his nephew. It's kind of hard to explain because honestly not heaps happens. This is a very foundational book. It is describing the foundation on what this incredible series is set on. By the end of this book though, my jaw was on the floor. There were so many moments I had to put the book down and just go like, what just happened? And I fear that is just going to happen throughout the rest of the series so much. No, I'm excited for it. But yeah, this was absolutely amazing. As for rating, I found it so hard to rate this book because honestly, one of the most intricate, well thought out books I have ever read in my life. How could it not be? So I gave this book a 4.75. The only reason it wasn't quite a 5 stars is because it was a little bit slow, a little bit repetitive at some points, and it did take me a little while to get into it, which I feel like is pretty, it's a 1,000-page book. Of course, I'm not going to be into it immediately. It's a very intimidating read, but it did take me a little bit to get into. It was the tiniest bit slow, and that is literally the only reason. Everything about this book was incredible. Otherwise, as I said, the characters, the world building, the magic system, which by the way is based off gravity and light. This was just a wild ride, and I couldn't recommend it enough. Obviously, Way of Kings was a very intense read, so I wanted to dial it back a bit. So I picked up Wildside by Elsie Silver. This is probably one of the easiest romances I could have picked up, and it is the 3rd book in the Rose Hill series, which is a Canadian cowboy romance series, I would say. I will say, compared to the Chestnut Spring series though, this is very much not too much of a cowboy romance series. I feel like it's more of a small town romance series. You do have interconnecting characters from the Chestnut Spring series, series, which if you didn't know is Elsie Silver's other series. You don't really have to read one before the other, but it is fun to read the Chestnut Spring series before, because then you have some like overlapping characters. Just it makes it all that little bit better, if you know what I mean. So in Wildside, this is like a marriage of convenience type situation. Basically, our main protagonist's sister has recently passed away and she had a very young son. So our protagonist steps in to start taking care of him until she realizes that the son's now guardian, if something were to happen to her sister, is the landlord that she was renting from, who just seems like an absolute asshole. Honestly, I loved our characters. I feel like we got a really great exploration into the depth of them. The only thing I wish we had a little bit more of was the exploration of grief, because obviously this book is very centered around grief. And I feel like our characters, they explored it a tiny bit, but it's almost like it was a romance and so she didn't want to explore it too much. I don't know. I just felt like it could have been a little bit more explored and, you know, you could relate to it a little bit more, see how these different characters, two very different people, experience grief. So overall, I do recommend it. It also got really spicy really quickly. Like, I feel like nothing was happening. It was all this tension that I loved, and then suddenly it was like that. A switch flipped and suddenly it was all spice. So do go in knowing that. I feel like that's pretty common for Elsie Silver, but yeah, now and then it isn't. So I gave this book a 3 stars because of that. I thought it was a really fun romance book, but I kind of had hoped for a little bit more emotional depth and it felt very surface level. Our characters were really complicated and I wanted a little bit more from them. Overall good, I would recommend, but not my favorite from the series so far, I don't think. I really liked the first like 60%, not so much the last 40. The next book I read, I actually could have included in the haul at the beginning because I got this month as well, and that is Wild Reverence by Rebecca Ross. Again, this was an arc I was so incredibly grateful to receive. If you guys know, Jamie read this a while ago, like at the start of this year, and absolutely loved it. Like, this is a 6-star read for her. And Rebecca Ross is one of my favorite authors. I was dying to read this and she was like, you know, we've got to find you a copy. And suddenly this turned up on my doorstep and I was so incredibly grateful. If you did not know, Wild Reverence is actually a prequel to the Divine Rivals duology. Divine Rivals, one of my favorite duologies I have ever read. And this is technically set in the same world, but we are much more following like the god side of things. So the magical elements in this world, which I loved so much. This book was beautiful. This book is definitely one of my favorite books, if not my favorite, by Rebecca Ross. We are following Matilda, who is the daughter of a Skyward and Underling. So Skyward are kind of the gods that live up in the sky and Underlings obviously are below. So she has the very unique ability to travel between the different worlds. And nobody else can do that because usually you are specifically like a Skyward. As a god, Matilda can step into dreams of people and she notices that a mortal called Vincent has been dreaming of her, but he has never actually met her. I feel like that's all I'm gonna say because this was honestly the most beautiful story I have ever read. I am very unsure on my rating in this one. I feel like I'm gonna go a 4.75 or a 5-star. I'm still very undecided. The only thing that keeps it from a 5-star is that the storyline was very interestingly paced. It was honestly quite fast paced in an unusual way, but it worked. I was just kind of wrapping my head around that and I couldn't quite decide whether I liked that fast pace or whether I was hoping for something a little bit more neutral. I don't know. It was very confusing in my head. I could not recommend this enough when it comes out. It was a lot more magical and mythical than Divine Rivals. I feel like in Divine Rivals, magic was almost a setting. It was kind of like a historical fiction with magical elements, whether this was very much a fantasy, I would say. It was amazing though. I was obsessed with it. I loved every single second. There were a few Easter eggs connecting it to Divine Rivals. Definitely got a little bit teary-eyed in this one as well. I think all of the other books I read this month were on Kindle, but the next book was Full Risk. This is a tiny little novella. And again, I just needed something quick and easy. And I've been kind of working my way through these novellas. It's a little series of novellas written by different romance authors. I really enjoyed this one. It was really fun for a quick little novella, like less than 100 pages. I thought it was pretty good. Honestly, the chemistry between these two was really good and somehow it had emotional depth to it, which I was just shocked by because again, it's less than 100 pages. So I was like, how am I feeling for my characters so much right now? But I mean, that's pretty typical of Abby Jimenez, to be honest. If anyone can do it, it's Abby Jimenez. So yeah, I feel like I don't have much to say about this one. Basically, we are following two protagonists who live in the same apartment complex. One day they go outside to go to work and the stairs of the apartment complex have been removed and they live on the 2nd floor. The landlord calls and they say that they can't get the stairs back up until weekend is over, Monday, and it's currently a Friday. They have to stay in their apartments all weekend and they kind of just start getting to know each other whilst they do that. It was really, really sweet, honestly. I gave this one a 3.5 stars because it's a novella, like it's not going to be incredible, but for a novella, it was incredible, if that makes sense. The next book I read in the month of August was Rewind It Back by Liz Tomford. This is the last book in the Windy City series. I read this while I was on holiday and this was the perfect holiday read. Are you kidding me? It was so much fun. To be honest, this is definitely one of my favorite books from the series, if not my favorite. Right Move was definitely my favorite before that, with Play Along coming close second. I think Rewind It Back might be my favorite, which I just didn't expect. I did not expect that to overtake Right Move. If you don't know, the Windy City series is like a millionaire sports romance series. Each book is following a different sports player, and they are also all interconnected. So in this one, it was very much wrapping up all of our characters from the past book. It was very bittersweet. I loved it so much. But in this one, we are following Rio, who is a ice hockey player. I wouldn't say this is like a second chance romance, but I would say it's like childhood friends. We are also following Hallie, who used to live next door to Rio when she grew up, and she kind of saw him rise to fame, go through all his trials and tribulations to become one of the best hockey players. But for some reason, they haven't seen each other in 6 years. Hallie is interning to be an interior designer, and she happens to design the apartment opposite Rio's. Rio sees this design and he's like, oh my god, I want to hire this interior designer to do mine because my apartment is really boring. He hires her without realizing that it is his childhood love. Everything about this book was perfect. I loved the chemistry between them. The history made sense. Like, it wasn't a stupid reason that they haven't talked in 6 years. Everything made so much sense, and I just was obsessed with it. I love these characters. Rio has my heart. Him and Ryan are definitely, I don't know what it is with the R's, but him and Ryan are definitely my favorites in this entire series. I loved seeing all of our characters together again, and this was honestly like the perfect conclusion to the Windy City series. I am so happy that we've read it and finished it, and it was just, I loved it so much. I could not recommend this book enough. I do recommend reading this series in order. Mile High doesn't grab everyone. The first book, Mile High, kind of sets a lot of people off this series. Personally, I think push past it because I enjoyed it still, but the next book's so much better. So this I gave a 4.75 because I was actually obsessed with it, and I love these characters so much together. They make so much sense. They are so perfect. I'm not always obsessed with the trope of like childhood lovers or childhood friends to lovers. Sometimes it doesn't work, but this worked so well, and they are so perfect for each other. My heart was so warm and giddy the entire time reading this, and I could not put it down either. Like, I was reading it on my phone, I was reading it on my Kindle. Every single second I had, I was reading this book. When I was walking, I was reading it, and that just doesn't happen with every book. I cannot recommend this book enough for that reason. If this is your favorite in the Windy City series, please let me know, because I feel like I haven't seen a lot on this last book purely because I was trying to avoid spoilers. But yeah, I also just don't know. Is this your favorite from the series? And if you've read the entire series, what was your favorite? I'm very curious, so please let me know. This is the part of the video where I have to ask for your forgiveness, and I'll explain. But the next book I read was The Nightingale. I know, it's on my September TBR, I know. In my defense, this is what happened, right? Okay, so I put this on my September TBR. I filmed my September TBR early because I was going on holidays for a week and a half at the end of the month, and I was like, I wanna have a September TBR before I go away. Like, I wanna get that video out to you guys. When I got to our destination and we were staying with my partner's family for a while, the book on my bedside table was The Nightingale. And obviously I had just put it on my TBR, and I was like, oh my God, I've been wanting to read this for such a long time. So I read it, okay? I read it. And I read it very quickly. I read it in a few days. And was this a emotional whirlwind? Yes. I'm not sure if I wanted to vlog it. I'm not sure you wanted to see me read that book, just because it was very, very emotional. But that is why I read it this month, not in September. Then it was just staring at me on the bedside table, and I was like, and I just finished Rewind It Back, and I was like, okay, I think it's time. So I just picked it up and read it. I'm sorry, okay? Now I can give you a whole in-depth thought. So these are my in-depth thoughts. Basically, I have been avoiding this book because it is an emotional, like, I knew it was going to be an emotional toll. It is following two sisters in World War II, both very different. One of them is very, very against the war, obviously, and she's doing everything she can to help save people. The other one has a family, and she is purely just trying to survive. And then when Jews start getting deported, like, she does have to take a bit of action that she didn't want to do because it draws attention to her and, you know, possibility of her. Yeah, this was very dark. Honestly though, I am so glad I read the little foreword by Kristen Hanna, because it explained that these sisters' stories were based off real stories of people, of women in World War II in France. So basically Germany took over France, and their soldiers were kind of forced into French people's homes, and the French people had to live with them. So it was really shocking. Even thinking about it makes me want to cry, because I can't believe people went through this. The whole story was intense. It was like, I'm genuinely crying. It was so intense. In saying that, these women were incredible. This story was absolutely amazing. Obviously, it's not like true to a T, it is technically fiction. But the sisters we were following were truly incredible. They were so independent and strong during this time when they had to be. I don't know how to say this without spoiling spoiling anything, but I wasn't shocked by the ending, as a lot of people were. For some reason, I wasn't. Not that that took away from the reading experience at all, because it was insane. This book is really hard to rate as well. I think I'm rating it a 4.5 just because it was really incredibly heavy, and I don't even know how to like recommend this. I think it's so important to read. I think it really draws attention on such important topics, but it is so emotionally draining to read about this awful stuff, especially when you know that this happened in real life. Like, it's about World War II. It is very hard to read, but it was a very important read. I hope that makes sense. It was just a bit of an emotional whirlwind, so that's the best I can describe it. But yeah, I read The Nightingale this month and it was crazy. The last book I read in the month of August was Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This is a thriller by Alice Feeney. I think she only writes thrillers. I have only just been getting into her works this year. Rock, Paper, Scissors, one of my favorite thrillers I have ever read, and it's by her. So I was very curious to go into this one. I didn't love this one. I was kind of confused by the ending. It wasn't really what I was expecting. It took a twist that I don't love in my thrillers, but it was really addictive. Like, I read this in less than 24 hours and I'm rating it a 3 stars. I just didn't know what to think of it. Basically, we are following Daisy and she returns to her grandma's house, who lives in a little area on an island where when the tide comes in, you cannot leave the island and you have to wait until the tide goes out to be able to get off. And on the night that she visits, there's a massive storm as well. It is her grandma's birthday, so her whole family is visiting her that night, and it also happens to be the night before Halloween. A lot of family drama unfolds. One by one, each family member starts disappearing, essentially. And it's quite insane. Like, it definitely keeps you hooked from the beginning, because you're like, how is this happening? What is happening? So it definitely keeps you hooked from the very beginning. But yeah, the ending I just wasn't obsessed with. It still was good, but it wasn't my favorite by her. Rock, Paper, Scissors still has that crown. Daisy Dark was the last book I read in the month of August, and it was like a good note to end on, and I definitely needed something kind of brainless and mindless to read, but addictive. So it was like a good book for me to read at that time. But this is what I mean. We had a crazy reading month in the month of August. We had some insane reads. In September, we're very much reeling it back. We do have one intense book on the TBR, but everything else is pretty chill. We're just gonna have a fun reading month because I feel like I need that. Don't get me wrong, loved my August reads, but you know, it was a lot of emotions. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in treating yourself to some beautiful jewelry by Luisa, make sure to check out my bio and you can use my link. It also was a way to help out me and this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a great reading month yourself. Let me know what your favorite read of the month was. I love you all so much, and I will see you in my next video.